Staying with us, everyone. Scheduled to join us is the Commissioner for Information in Akwa Ibom State as we continue to follow very closely the developments in South Nigeria with the official defection of Governor Umo Eno, who happens to be the latest PDP governor to join ship and join the ruling APC. The conversation has been that 5 APC governors are really going to, 5 PDP governors will turn to the APC. We have 2 of them now following what happened in Delta State, where the entire PDP structure defected to the ruling APC. With the Delta development, we saw the former governor who was a running mate to Atiku Abubakar in 2023 for the PDP, alongside all the elected officials. I believe the entire members of the state assembly joining the APC. Is that exactly what will happen in Akwa Ibom? We're hoping to follow very closely with that, bearing in mind that former Governor Udom Emmanuel was the one who endorsed Governor Umo Eno to succeed him at the time when he was Commissioner for Lands and Water Resources in Akwa Ibom State. And now the big question would be, is former Governor Udom Emmanuel also following his successors to the APC, or we're not going to see that happen? How is he taking it? Is it considered a betrayal of trust in that regard? Governor Umo Eno has now officially joined the All Progressives Congress, claiming he made the widest consultations yet before taking the decision. That capture the former governor. The Commissioner for Information is expected to join us to help us understand the kind of conversations, the quality of conversations, and how widespread this decision is now being accepted across the state. Was this defection also discussed at the State Executive Council beforehand? Because we're hearing that one of the commissioners have now tendered his letter of resignation just hours after this particular announcement was made official. Recall that Mr. Governor had reportedly mentioned that any members of his cabinet who do not follow him should consider leaving their position. We're also hoping that that can be confirmed as we go through our conversation today. Let's bring in the Commissioner for Information in Akwa Ibom State, Honorable Anekan Umana. Thank you for joining us on Beyond the Headlines. Let's quickly get your reaction to what has happened today officially. Mr. Governor saying he's no longer with the PDP, is joining the ruling All Progressives Congress. Walk us through the kind of conversation that preceded this decision.
Well, thank you so much for signing me on, and thank you. Good evening, our listeners and our viewers. What happened today was exactly what the governor called, and we all know, to be the progressive movement of the state. So the state has moved progressively to the ruling party. And what's the rationale behind this? Enlightened state interest, a connection with the center, and an effort to integrate Akwa Ibom into the Nigerian conversation. That's the whole idea. The governor spent time consulting with every shade of opinion, and the result was what you saw earlier today, which was indeed not a defection, but a movement, a mass movement of the state. As you could see, beyond the governor announcing his movement, all members of the House of Assembly, all of the local government chairmen were there, the ESCO members, National Assembly, and every shade of opinion, the leaders and elders of the state all announced their movement too. So what I like to call that is a movement, not just an ordinary defection.
Where does this leave former Governor Udom Emmanuel, who endorsed Governor Eno, who was at the time when he was commissioner? Did he decamp as well?
No, he did not decamp with the governor this morning. He did not.
I'm wondering how you react to concerns that, given the support that the former governor gave to your principal and how he emerged candidate of the PDP, and eventually win the election. Some call this a betrayal of trust, especially where that former governor is concerned. How do you react to this?
Well, first, I think the governor has reviewed all his options and has also a deeper understanding of the direction he's taking the state. So right now, it's not an issue of betrayal, it's an issue of enlightened state interest, it's an issue of the direction he wants the state to go. And he's moving the state in that direction, and of course you can see the state has moved.
Sounds like you're saying all the elected officials have defected to the APC with the governor. Can you confirm that?
Yes, you saw that. You saw that on the TVC covered it live. You saw the Speaker of the House of Assembly making the declaration on behalf of the members who all filed out there.
The governor, we heard, ask appointees to either defect with him or resign. Do you think there will be consequences for those who choose to stay with the PDP?
The word defect isn't what we have experienced here. What we have here is a mass movement. It's a complete movement, mass movement of the people. So if the local government chairman, all of them, decided to move with the governor, the state assembly, the members of the executive council, the secretary to government spoke on their behalf, of course, the elders and leaders of the state. For me, I think this is not just about defection. It is a movement of Akwa Ibom, a progressive movement of Akwa Ibom into the Nigerian conversation, like I did say earlier.
But your colleague, Commissioner for Special Duties and Deep Sea Port, resigned following this decision. How are you reacting to this?
Greater collaboration, more development.
Well, I can hardly hear you now, Commissioner for Information in Akwa Ibom State. Hopefully we can work on that connection so we can follow closely your reaction to this development. Honorable Commissioner, I was asking if the Executive Council is concerned about the resignation of your colleague, who is Commissioner for Special Duties and Deep Sea Port. Well, hopefully we are able to reconnect with the Honorable Commissioner, who's been gracious enough to join us on the show this evening. We lost you for a minute. I was asking how concerned you and the entire State Executive Council is about the resignation of your colleague, who is Commissioner for Special Duties and Deep Sea Port. Honorable Commissioner, are you there?
Well, he has not told me here, but I saw a copy of the letter online, which I suppose is his. But of course, it's within his right to decide where he wants to belong as a full adult. So there's absolutely no problem at all. The governor had made it clear that anyone who is not comfortable with his decision as the leader of the state is also at liberty to choose where and what he or she might want to do at this time. That does not take out the personal relationship or the values that we hold and share together. He made this very clear.
Do you fear that there might be others in the cabinet who may be considering similar steps? Well, the connection is quite rough on the show this hour, but we'll keep trying to reconnect with the Honorable Commissioner for Information in Akwa Ibom State as we continue to find out more about what transpired earlier today, the official defection. He says in Akwa Ibom they're choosing to use the word mass movement. I think it's just a play with words. Defect, the camp, move. The reality is that there is now a change in political alignment where that state is concerned. It's very significant for that region because South is now left with just Bayelsa and I think Rivers State. Recall that I spoke with the publicity secretary of the APC on the show, I think it was just yesterday, where he mentioned that the APC in Rivers is willing to receive Governor Fubara if he goes through the ranks and go through all it needs to do to be a part of the ruling party. Is that going to be the reality as well, especially with insinuations that more governors will join the APC? Recall that the Akwa Ibom State Governor had mentioned that any member of his cabinet who doesn't follow him will now have to resign, and that's perhaps what we have started to see play out in that part of the country. What's the future of opposition politics in Akwa Ibom, especially for those who choose to remain with the PDP? It's the same question we ask with the development in Delta State. Only this time, the former governor, Udom Emmanuel, hasn't left the PDP yet. So the conversations arrive as to who is staying back. The Honorable Commissioner just confirmed that all elected officers are going with Mr. Governor. We cannot tell yet if all the appointed officers are going to be with him. The governor also did mention about the reasons for his defection, specifically stating his loyalty to the president and that he's such a man who sticks to his word, that he doesn't want to say something to the president at night and come out in the open in the morning to say something else. And to avoid being considered engaging in anti-party behavior, he has now decided to officially leave the PDP for the APC. Were there pressures, however, within the PDP or the APC that influenced this decision? That's a big question we're hoping to get answers to, especially less than 24 hours after that defection. Ini Ememobong, who's Commissioner for Special Duties and Deep Seaport, resigned, citing personal reasons. Well, I read a copy of that letter. He has some good words for his principal, but it's usually how those letters are written. The bottom line is that he's not following his principal to the APC. And there are concerns from within the new APC in Akwa Ibom about others following suit, especially in Mr. Governor's cabinet. Recall that a few weeks ago, he was concerned about some of his commissioners leaving an event before he leaves. And he had a strong word for them that they might lose their seat for that. So we probably will see some shake-up in the cabinet in the coming days. But what does this mean for the PDP in the South-South, especially for those who choose to remain within the opposition party? What assurances can they begin to give Akwa Ibom people today that this defection isn't just in their own best interest, but also for the economic establishment of the people? Because we've heard the governor say it's important that we align ourselves with the federal government so that we can have a lion's share ourselves. He also did mention during his speech earlier today about all of the tough decisions Mr. President has had to make, the removal of fuel subsidy, the unification of exchange rate, acknowledging again that this has improved the amount of money the states receive as federal allocation. He was quoted to have said that Akwa Ibom has now turned into a construction site without owing a cover. Now, that is interesting because the last time I spoke with the Zamfara state governor, he has a different tale to tell. He mentioned that even though he acknowledged that the federal allocation has remarkably increased, he said with the current inflation rate, it has added no value. As a matter of fact, for him, it was more money but lesser value. But that's completely different from what we're hearing from Cross River. What does this mean? I mean, it's the same Naira and Kobo. It's the same economy from the north to the south. Do this money have more value to southern governors as against northern governors? A big question to tell as we continue to follow this development very closely. But let's bring in our correspondent who covered that event earlier today. Miriam Daniel, we saw that Mr. Governor has now gone to visit the Senate President after that particular defection. Walk us through what's transpired there and what's the mood like today in Akwa Ibom. All right, terrible connection on the show today, but we are following this story very closely and we hope to get some more exclusives from Akwa Ibom especially as we count down to 2027 and what this would mean for opposition politics. But that's our show today. You can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow.